Bonus round, second kitty. She's like, oh Lord, I'm on camera. I gotta run. Alright, go on, kitty. She actually wanted down a few minutes ago, but I thought I'd keep her around a little longer. Well, welcome back to Switch to Linux. Oh boy. Let me know how the streaming works. I played around with a few different settings on OBS. If anything's goofy, I will go ahead and take care of that. But anyway, in the meantime, we're just going to kind of see what comes of this. So, hello, Lamarck. How's it going there? The Linux Historian. Hello, Libre Secure. Q1 Fiend, Daniel, Mitchell, Hunt 101. Yeah, we're up into the, I never know anymore, 70s-ish. Nice enough day today. Kitty Cam is engaged. Just started making some awesome Linux wallpapers. The link is on any of my past 2 videos. Alright. Yeah, check out that Goggle Plus page. Grab some Linux things and check out Linux Historian stuff. Hey, Bill Gates. We are in the midst of a computer genius. Greetings. Ruben, hello, or hola. Okay. Hello, Robert. She's camera shy. She's very camera shy. PK, greetings. Levon, what Linux do you recommend on Pentium M? I don't know much about that particular processor, but generally I start with Linux Mint unless the system requirements are really low, in which case I'd go with Peppermint. It's kind of what my thoughts are there. Jasper, hello there. Cool War Boy 2018, greetings. Just found out a Linux for your cats. Psy Linux. Well, I mean, they like Puppy Linux is what they use. But, you know, that's kind of the direction that they want to do. Alright, so we're going to start. We're going to probably have a little shorter of a show today. There's a bunch more things I need to take care of yet tonight. I meant to put up a video for the Christian channel today, but there seems to be a problem with Copperhead and externally attached microphones, and I didn't catch it until I was in production for the video last night, so I have to re-record all my footage for the other channel. So I'm going to do that today and probably release the video either tomorrow or the next day. So we'll see what happens. I'm leaning towards potentially doing a day off tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not completely sure, but just an FYI. I'll do something maybe, but we'll see what happens. Kitson, hello there. Have you heard of Crunchbag Linux? I have not. No, Narust, hello there. Greetings, Fat Elvis. No, I don't speak that language. Alright, we're going to go ahead and jump on over into our article. We're going to start in on the first discussion on ChromeOS and the Linux. So we're going to go ahead and rerun the intro so I can record everything. So actually, I think I need to turn on the title first before I can do that. So, all right. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So today I want to have a look at an article that just came out yesterday, and this is about ChromeOS is getting some Linux app support. And I want to talk about this because this is an absolutely amazing thing. That's not necessarily by default. There's a few extra steps, but where I see this as being a good thing is that ChromeOS in and of itself as Linux traditionally has been a Gen 2 Linux. Customized for the Chrome OS. But with the ability to produce basically what they're doing is creating a virtual machine inside of Chromebooks, and they're testing it with the Pixel 2 books. And it's based on a Debian Stretch, and it's an entire Linux build. So you will be able to run on a Chromebook, build scenarios, and run anything Linux on that device. The reason this is huge is because ChromeOS has the ability to get in there and introduce a whole lot more people to Linux easily, and that can only help our numbers. Why is it we don't have Photoshop for Linux? Adobe considers that it's not big enough of a target. But if more and more people are on Chromebooks and are able to use Linux applications, this is going to help. So I'd stand behind this thing. So the article that that I believe kind of sourced this was VentureBeat, and they talk about ChromeOS getting Linux app support. So Google announced today ChromeOS is getting Linux support. So as a result, Chromebooks will be able to run Linux apps and execute Linux commands. The preview on the Pixelbook will be first released. And as I said, what they're doing is they're creating virtual machines inside of it. So it's a customized virtual machine in the Chrome OS, which is going to be running a sandbox Debian build, and it's Debian Stretch. The idea is they wanted to be able to run Android Studio. They want to be able to run Git, all of the other things that you might run. Now, the funny thing is I'm not sure Chromebooks necessarily have the power to run full Android Studio. If you look at some of the requirements to compile Android apps through Android Studio, it's a little on the goofy side. And Chromebook, I don't see a Chromebook necessarily having that unless they are coming out with a whole lot better system requirements. But the fact it's there, the fact they're doing Git, the fact they're doing Vim, all these other applications is a fabulous thing. It means that more people will have Linux available on offered devices, especially in the world where we're starting to progress toward seeing experimentation and engineering coming into the classrooms where more and more technology is being used. As Chromebooks will become one of those places to utilize Linux, we will start to see more popularity in Linux builds because of Chromium. So Chromium is going to bring with it a whole list of people. And as people start getting used to that, they may experiment further on, and that can only help the Linux world. There is going to be a separate Android Studio specifically for Chrome OS that they're going to be working on and releasing more information later. So what this means, according to the article here, is that developers will finally be able to use a Google device to develop for Google platforms rather than depend on Windows, Mac, or Linux machines specifically. And because Chrome OS doesn't run just Chrome OS specific apps anymore, developers would be able to create, test, and run any Android or web app for phones, tablets, and laptops directly on the Chromebooks without having to switch devices. You can run your favorite IDE as long as there's a Debian version. So this is using Debian Stretch is what they're saying. And you can code and do anything that you would do in a Linux system with this. So according to the article, this is not necessarily, it's not installed, not enabled by default. You have to intentionally turn it on, but it gives you all of those extra development tools in a sandboxed environment. They are running Wayland, so be aware of that. So if there's any issues back and forth between anything, looking at Wayland is that's what the system's going to work on. So in reality, this is a great thing. This is going to help popularize things, because now if you have your favorite Linux applications, you can run those on a Chromebook, and then as that starts to raise more awareness, we're going to see a bigger push to the Linux builds. That's kind of what's going to happen. Of course, their intention isn't necessarily to do that. Their intention is to be able to build the Android applications on your Chromebook, but this is kind of a side effect. Kind of like Amazon wanting to reach out with to reach the unchurched, the unbanked people. Wow, unbanked people with having the gift cards, but then it allows us all to buy things from Amazon without having to store a credit card, and that is a great thing. I'm pretty excited about it myself. Lou shares with VentureBeat. I can actually now self-publish on Chrome OS. I can literally pull up the source code for Chrome OS and build Chrome OS within Chrome OS. And the Android Studio, even though it's still relatively early, I can build Android apps on Chrome OS and deploy it to the exact same device, which you've never been able to do before. Of course, as I said, compiling and creating an app it takes a ton of resources, so be aware of that. Chrome OS operating system is based on the Linux kernel, so it's technically been possible before, but some people have managed to pull it out with Crouton. However, that's kind of not necessarily a direct route. So they put the Linux application environment within a security sandbox running inside a virtual machine. We made sure the user experience is seamless with the user, whether you use a web app, whether you're using an Android app, or whether you are using a Linux app. The window treatment is the same way. When you launch the app from the launcher, it is all the same. And they're doing that, they said, with Wayland. So that is that's kind of what's coming down through the pipeline on that. That is a fabulous, fabulous thing. I stand behind this. I'm not necessarily about to go out and buy a Chromebook right away, but it's going to help raise Linux awareness with this being an option built into Chromebooks. So starting with that Pixelbook, and it is going to their final objective is to roll this out to all ChromeOS devices down the road. So what do you guys think about this? Do you see this as a good thing, as a bad thing? Let me know in the comments. Okay. All right. I didn't have my comment bar set up. Sorry about that. Oh boy. Ubuntu very light distro. What DE does Ubuntu Studio use? Ubuntu Studio, I believe it's XFCE. Gentoo can be usable. I can't believe it. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Hello, James Miller, and greetings, Dylan. Gentoo-based OS could actually be the most people's introduction to Linux. Who'd have guessed it? Yeah, I mean, Gentoo when installed, like if you were to get an OEM computer installed with Gentoo, I mean, it'd be amazingly wonderful. It's just installing it kind of annoying. So I've actually looked at a few Gentoo builds. What's that? Sabayan, I think, is the one I looked at. It was actually very good. The downside, of course, is you don't get the regular portability that you regularly have inside of Linux. Takes too long even to install it. I was complaining about installing Arch. Yeah. Wayland isn't ready. I agree. I mean, I think Wayland has a lot of work to do. So I thought that Chromebooks were only used for schools, too stripped down for most other people. Yep. Mine ChromeOS, I tried Cloud Ready for a month or two ago, and this will be awesome to use Linux apps on a Chromebook. I believe it make me like ChromeOS even more. Let's use a user-friendly version like Redcore or Sabayan. Yeah, and I used Sabayan. It was pretty cool. I gotta look at Redcore. I haven't looked at Redcore yet. YouTube has messed up my direction again. There we go. Okay. What if you'd be able to use things like app images or even something more complex like snaps or flatpaks? As long as it's Debian. To my understanding, it's a full Debian cartridge. So as long as you can use it inside of Debian, you should be able to use it. Hello, Dominique. I am doing well, and how are you? It's heard an ice cream truck outside. Is it really that time of the year? So Ubuntu has created a lot of services that are enabled by default, making the boot time longer and using lots of memory. Yeah, and we're gonna look at a Linux distro here that supposedly takes less memory. So we're gonna do that here in a bit. Is it a real OS if it doesn't? Oh, is it a real OS if it doesn't come with Candy Crush Saga? No. Candy Crush Saga is now a requirement for any OS to be a real OS. And if you uninstall it, it has to reinstall itself on a very regular basis. Yep. Greetings, George. How are you? Manjaro rules. Windows obeys. I like Manjaro. It's pretty good. Sounds like they have to go with what people want rather than being tied to Gates or Apple. Closed system and lack of updates. Good decision to go with Wayland right out of the gate, because otherwise they'd have to mess with migrate ChromeOS to Wayland once X Legacy hits down the road. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe with that being a case, maybe Google's going to, deploy a bunch of digital monkeys on the thing. You guys, unlimited budget, make Wayland work. That's. Greetings, Lance. How are you? Anyone doing / did Raspberry Pi robots projects with kids? Which one do you recommend? I have not looked at any of those, unfortunately. Oh boy. Well, let's go ahead and jump on over to our other topic. I'm just going to change my banner first. All right. Okay. Forgot to hit the record button. I got to do that. Sorry about that. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we are going to do a brief install and a quick look at PinguyOS, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this correctly. My apologies. Pinguy, I think, or Pinguy. Anyone in the comments there know how it's pronounced? I don't know. But anyway, this is an OS that is built around Ubuntu, and they've released their 18.04 beta, and I'm wondering if they've released one for a while or what. I've not heard of this OS, and the last one they have in their official download is a 14, and so I'm wondering did they not release one with 16? I just don't know. So we're going to go ahead and start by having a look at their website, and then we're going to boot up the distro. I've already installed it. I didn't do anything else. So here we have the build, and it essentially is kind of like a Mac clone based on Ubuntu. There are, in theory, some other themes. I was not able to find them. It looks like that's Cody. So here's kind of simple to use stuff. So we're going to go ahead and have a look. They do have forums, news. You can grab the downloads, so you can grab torrents or regular downloads. They do have the 32 and the 64-bit. They also have a mini. I'm not sure exactly what the mini is. Now, another thing that I noticed is that they said, well, they pared it down a little bit, but the current download is something like 2.5 gigs. So that was a little interesting. They do say it takes less memory, so we're going to look at that specifically when the thing first jumps on. So you can come over here to the About page, learn a little bit more about it. To my understanding, there is a single developer on this. I might not be right. So if you want to help support the site, go to your contribute. Here's your donorship page or sponsorship. They have a Patreon page, and they have some merchandise. So have a look at that if you want to help support this this particular distro. And here are some sponsors. So there's some gold sponsors. So it looks like their sponsors page is a little bit down. So that'll be interesting to see if there are indeed some more sponsors that could come on board with that. So we'll go ahead and boot this guy up, and then as we boot this up, then we'll go ahead and have a look at what we see. All right, so here is our Grub screen. We're running Grub version 2.02. And somebody asked, is this the 14 or is this the 18? This is the 18.04 beta download. I do get some of this. I occasionally see this running, Tails. Some versions of GNOME give me this kind of ugly starting screen. It just doesn't look like it's necessarily booting up as well, but it will eventually fix itself, and we'll get booted up into the system. Virtual box guest editions do seem to work out of the box. So if you hit your login screen over here, you do have the option. I'm not seeing it right here, but there is an option. If we log out and log back in, there is an option to log in under Wayland. Xorg is the default. I did double check that earlier. And during the install process, everything was actually working. Let's go ahead and jump into our settings real quick, and we're going to get this into full screen. So we have, let's grab our right. Okay, there we are. Now we're back into full screeniness. All right, so the next thing we're going to do before we get doing anything else is I want to look at the system monitor. Whoa, I saw it in there. Okay, so our resources, we're running at 1.1 gig. So it is actually quite a bit lighter than the stock Ubuntu. About, I think that runs like 1.7 gig. So it is actually running on a little bit less memory, which is good. As far as the image here, they do have an image scroller by default. This is a very unusual background image. The previous image was just their basic logo. This is actually a really cool image. But we do have this image changer up here. By default, we do have a weather application installed up here. Of course, we will need to configure that if we want our real data. We do have this notification pop up. So the notification is telling us to make a backup. So that's going to load up our backup and restore system. So we have the ability to do that. And then we do have the tweak tool installed by default. We have everything, of course, it is set up very much like a Mac, including that rainbowy, squirrely thingy of death. So that's something else that is certainly worthy. We have the Mint Updater. So the Update Manager is the Mint Updater, which is an interesting choice. I do like the Mint Updater. I think it's a lot easier to use than a lot of your other updater systems, in that you always have an icon. You can see from your icon really quickly if there is something that needs downloaded. And you can change, in theory, I'll look at it when it's done doing this. In theory, you should be able to change the kernel easily as well. Since this is an Ubuntu system and not Linux Mint, you may not be able to change the kernel. Looks like you may not be able to do that from inside of here. So now we do have the icon saying we are up to date. They did give us the more traditional menu, and we can get to your basic GNOME menu just with the meta key, but at the same time it's not up for, like, it's kind of stuck on me right now. I'm not sure what's going on with this. So I kind of hit the meta key to get into the screen, and it essentially has frozen on me. It was not doing that in any of my testing. That's exciting. Let's go ahead and okay, oh, there it goes. It's back. And we have an upside down image, and we apparently have had a crash, but it recovered. Note to self, meta key might crash the system. Okay, I mean, I guess I can go on and off. It doesn't give me the application list. If you do want the application list, you want to jump into your tweak tool, and inside your tweak tool, you have your extensions for your dock or your panel. I think it's a simple dock. And then inside of here, you can set to show the applications button, and that's going to add it to the menu. So we do have the tweaks installed. They did give us a more traditional menu that most people would be more familiar with. As far as the applications, we have Firefox, VLC, Synaptic, all of our basic applications which we might be needing. I'm not seeing a email application. We do have BleachBit installed, so that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting choices on software applications. One of the most fascinating to me here is that there is no default email client to be used. Like, how do you check email these days? Assuming everybody just uses the onboard stuff, that's kind of scary. Let's see if there's actually a software system. I mean, there is a Synaptic Package Manager, which I like. But the problem is it's not good for a user-friendly. And one of the things that they said in here is that this is for a user-friendly person. Well, apparently don't do that. Okay, software and updates seems, it recovers well. I mean, it crashes, but it recovers well. All right, so here's our other software. So we have a lot of different things. Okay, we have System 76, Ubuntu Bionic. We have Steam. Lot of Dolphin. Where's a there's just a ton of repos. Look at this. This is crazy amount of repos. Hey, there we are. That's a less crazy image. At least on the toaster. Alright, updates, authentication. There's the additional drivers. So it does set us to be using the proprietary guest editions by default. Some people may have an issue with that, so be aware of that. So yeah, this is one of the things, is that it does say it is kind of for a new user. That's one of the things they were talking about with it. But if you really wanted to have this for a new user, you put a different software center than Synaptic. I love Synaptic. It's great. It just isn't a new user-friendly application. And I thought I saw another package installer somewhere, like on their website, but I'm not seeing it anywhere here. I'm not seeing it in the system, so that's an interesting choice. As far as Firefox, I booted up Firefox, and one of the things that you will see with Firefox is that they are giving us kind of a default page here to search with. Let's search for something. So it's using a Google custom search page as the default. So there's Google. We have Amazon and Amazon. Oops, didn't mean to click that. Amazon and Amazon UK, Wikipedia, Twitter, eBay, and DuckDuckGo, and Bing. There's no Yahoo, at least. So we do have some options on the search bars that are good. No default Office applications. It's kind of like a minimal install. There's not a lot to this, which is funny because the download was actually I think it's like 1.7 gig, I think. And we have all this Oracle Java stuff, which is interesting. Okay, so here's a builder. Okay, so basically you can, I'm guessing this is where you can build a distribution, so customize it and build a distribution, so that's good. Interesting. We have Bleach bit onboard. Okay, so that's for BitTorrent. All right, as far as customizations to GNOME itself, one of the things that they have is they don't seem to have the applications menu there. You can restore it, as I had mentioned earlier. We have a lot of extensions installed by default. Let's go ahead and have a look at that extension list again for anybody interested in that. As far as our appearance, the overall theming, I like the overall theming. It is pretty nice. I don't care for the icons as much, but the overall theming is very nice. We are enabling desktop icons by default, but we don't actually have any icons there. This is where I was saying there's a ton of extensions installed, so I do not know what all of these extensions are doing. But you can see that we do have several of them already installed and activated. So that's actually good in that they're making an effort to making the GNOME desktops something with a specific target in mind. Here's your startup applications. So Nemo is the file manager apparently. Variety is what is changing our images around. So if you don't want your images to constantly change, hit the remove on that. They have the Mint update. Here's the top bar. We have the applications. Battery percentage is turned off. We have our clock over here in the panel instead of in the middle, which is a little bit different. And our calendar is turned off. And we are set at one specific workspace. It is interesting though to see the tweak tool installed by default. That's actually really good, really handy. Particularly for new people. So that's kind of my take on this. Overall, it seems like a pretty neat little distro based on Ubuntu. Let's actually double check. So let's see if it has Popcon or AppPort in it. Let's see. Trying to remember what the is it popularity contest? I think I did this incorrectly, as I cannot remember the name of the package exactly. I did one video on it before, but not installed, so it's not removed. So it does look like they took out the data collection type stuff. So if you're looking for an Ubuntu with kind of a different spin on it, this might be a good one for you. I did seem to have a couple of little system crashes, but those all recovered themselves, so I didn't have to fight with anything. It just came right back on board. It does seem it's pretty snappy, pretty good, minimal install. So all these are kind of things that's, I'm looking at all this going, yeah, this is actually a pretty good distro. I'm curious as to why they have the whole suite of Oracle Java on here, but oh well. I'd probably take that off if I were wanting to use this for anything that didn't require it. But overall, I like what they've done with the build. It's a really cool build, really nice system. It does seem user-friendly. It does give us a Mac type feel. So if you are looking for a Linux distro for somebody coming from a Mac world, this one out of the box does have that feel, including your little spinny circle of rainbowy goodness. So that's kind of neat. So let me know what you guys think. Is this a good distro for you? Not a good distro for you? Have you used it? Have you heard of it? Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you. Alright, now we'll shut this guy down real quick. That way I can read the comments without doing this. Alrighty. Install other Linux besides PinguyOS because I use Crunchbang. I mean, I have a lot of things installed. I mean, I actually only keep 2 virtual boxes, but yeah, I mean, this is just what I'm looking at. in my VirtualBox. People often say that Office or Adobe Suite would get people to switch to Linux. Nope, Candy Crush. That's right. What is it? We've already been through there, so I don't think I need to answer that one. There's an Office available on Linux, online version. Using Ubuntu Mate and Peppermint OS are good OS distros. Thing that Google do with a Linux on ChromeOS, is Wayland at least stable? I don't know. Best you can have or use Wine. Office isn't officially supported on Linux. Yeah, I looked at the 1804 version, 1804 beta. I think about Velt OS. I've not seen Velt OS. It's toast. Yeah, that distro was toast, wasn't it? Mint Update Manager, indeed. I wish my computer would call me Sunshine. No, it's GNOME. It's GNOME on that. Cloud, you do a look at blank on OS. If I can find my list of distros I want to look at. I'll write it down. No guarantee I'll actually get there. What is it? Blank on OS. Yeah, if a patron asks me to do a distro, I always do it. Somebody else, it gets added to the list and I'll fund for it eventually. No update policy screen. Does have all the update levels selected by default. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Maybe it did. I didn't look into that. Yeah, it did look like it was only GNOME. People don't use emails anymore. Has the PPA for Pop! OS theme, but it isn't using it. Why is it there? I don't know. And I looked over all the different themes. I didn't see Pop! OS theme in there. I'm guessing so you can install it? I don't know. It seems a little weird. Like Voyager OS. Beach is always better than a toast. Yep. How about a toast on the beach? There's a load of PPAs. Does this make the system unstable? I don't know. I mean, it will certainly make it open to more questionability and taking a long time to update the cache. PPAs are good, certain things, but I mostly use app images and snaps nowadays. Okay. Java of choice of hackers. Yeah.
Hello, peoples. I woke up now. I'm camouflaging myself, though, because I'm a predator, really.
All right. Greetings, Eric and Deer the Goat. At least I enabled the shell theme. How the memory usage? Yeah, I did the memory usage. Nemo on GNOME. Very odd. Yes. Using Nemo to display the desktop icons for Nautilus. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird mishmash of a lot of weird stuff. You heard of Icewallow come Linux? It is the worst name, but it's good for old laptops. I've not. Pop! OS basically just GNOME with a few tweaks to make it tolerable. What tweaks do you do to GNOME to make it tolerable? What are these tweaks you speak of? If you're a privacy-centric person, you should look at this distro or any other Ubuntu. Installed Popularity Contest, App Port, Ubuntu Port, and Whoopsie. Mint is better than Elementary is better than PinguyOS. What time is it? 7:40 my time. Anyone have an issue with WaterFox not showing external links? Links from Thunderbird. I installed it just as in Tom's video, set it to default. Can't seem to find a solution for this. Okay. WaterFox not showing external links. You mean not being the default for loading external links? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let's use a live puppy disk when I don't feel like using Windows 7. If I forget a crucial password or believe someone touched my computer, I'll use a live def disk. Both live and Memorex. Alright. Make a review of Windows 10. Really? Does Ubuntu Mate have the same diagnostics Ubuntu GNOME uses? I don't know. WaterFox is weird. If you switch tabs and come back, you can't enter comments in chat window. Huh, I don't know. Greetings, pizza. Pizza. Just made a Keep It Fresh with Linux wallpaper today. It's from my Google Plus page. All right. Yeah, wow. Pretty short today. My stream health is teetering right now for some reason. Huh. Oh, well. Seems to be back. All right, we're going to do a final call for comments. That way I'm going to actually get a bunch of other stuff done today. That's going to be fascinating. We're going to go ahead and feed the cretin over here, and then we'll do a final call for comments, and then I'll maybe eventually edit some of these other things here. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and do this. And we're going to feed the kitty and call last call for comments. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, kitty. Uh-oh. I got another one down here. Hold on. Yeah, you guys each get another one. Yes, you do. Yes, you do indeed. Over here. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh. Are they finger licking good today? Yeah. They're finger licking good. What kernel did it work on? My guess, I forgot to check the kernel. My guess is it works on whatever the default for Ubuntu 18.04 is. Which I don't remember which that is off the top. You look at KDE Neon when it migrates. I might. Neon's not too bad. I like KDE. What editing software do you use on Linux? Kdenlive is what I use on Linux when I need to do a video editing. Kdenlive. Interested in your thoughts on an article called "The PC is Over" by Coding Horror. I will have to read it. The PC is over. I mean, if it's what everyone's been talking about for a while, it's a bunch of nonsense. Add a Feed the Kitty internet-enabled cat treat provider that drops a treat for every $1. Ooh. Ooh, that'd be neat. Stream called Total OS, and he's talking about Windows. Take a look and shout out. All right. Yeah, is he still on? He was on earlier today. I'm not sure if he still is. Tested any user-friendly BSD. The only BSD I've used is pfSense. My router's BSD. Other than that, I don't really use it. What laptop do you recommend for editing under 100? What type of editing? Video editing, I mean, there's laptops you can get, but it's going to take a long time to render a video. Yeah, refurbished ThinkPad. Go with that. That's what I would probably suggest. You skipped my Windows 10 review. No, I commented on it. I saw it. Yeah, and I said no. I don't know if I want to do a Windows 10 review. Windows 10 scares me. I feel like every time I boot up a Windows 10 computer, especially if there's cameras and things in there, they're watching me. Some fool is there in Microsoft watching my every move when I'm on Windows. Snap gonna overtake package installers? I hope not. All right. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up for now. Kind of short stream today, but it's kind of what I needed to get done. So we're gonna jump on to some other things. And tomorrow, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I will come up with some live streamy stuff tomorrow. So I think I will probably live stream on both channels tomorrow. Probably 7 o'clock on the Linux channel and 9 o'clock on the Christian channel. So I'll live stream twice tomorrow. Let's come up with something else. So that's I think that's the direction we're going to go. Snap sucks because it doesn't use system themes. Yeah. Who else hates Microsoft? Me. Flatpaks or Snap's done right. Review equals it's a spyware. Huh. Oh, okay. 4:15, that's the beta. Alright guys, we will catch you later. Thanks for hanging out. And I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.